Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to other episode of the live podcast in English with the woman that gone viral for loving her husband. Welcome, Ali.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You're most welcome, dear. You're most welcome. As you know, guys, like who's following my English content, we got a podcast and a very interesting one with her husband Tom, TJ Hunter, regarding the absence of father. And today we are having the woman who gone viral for loving her husband.
hmm
Tell us a little bit. I did an Arabic breakdown in Arabic language about your video showing the ring and saying like, I just love my husband and I'm happy housewife. I submit to his will, and I'm happy about it. And everybody going crazy. Like, why anyone who says such things go viral?
Well, I think that in the West, we're taught to mistrust men, that they're not
Mhm.
smart, they're not competent or capable in leadership. But for my husband, that's just not the case because to me, it makes perfect sense for me to submit to his authority. I don't necessarily submit to his will because I don't think that it would make sense for me to be that argumentative that it becomes a submission to his will. I should be much more cooperative because whatever decisions he's making them with me in mind. So if something is insulting or I feel like I'm being oppressed, I have to look at the bigger picture. What is he really trying to do for the two of us? And usually he's trying to protect me or make sure that, I think that's just it. I can't think of anything else that he would have a reason to do stuff like that for. It's always with me in mind.
Yeah, we're living in the day and age which anybody says anything used to be regular like 30 years ago. Used
Mhm.
to be very acceptable, very okay, very regular. He will go viral. Watch
Mhm.
Andrew Tate, and you will believe in that.
Mhm. I've been hearing a
Don't you
lot
think
about
so?
him.
Yeah, he gone viral for saying like women can drive in general. Like they're not a better driver than men, and everybody lost his mind in on Twitch. Like he
Mhm.
got from around 500,000 on
Mhm.
Instagram to 2.5 million follower in 1 month, and that's crazy. Don't you think
Oh,
so?
that's why he's getting all the traffic. Well, I don't think women are that good of drivers. I'm just being honest. All of my girlfriends that have been in car accidents, it's always been something stupid. I had a girlfriend hit a pole. I had a girlfriend hit a bus. I know for me, I've tapped into someone's vehicle before. Other things like I just don't think we're that good of drivers. That's my opinion, but if you look at the statistics, you'll see that men are much riskier drivers. So they get injured more. But I mean, I don't know. It's anecdotal. I can't cite a study for why I think women are better drivers. It's just that all of my girlfriends have been in really stupid car accidents.
And it's easy if you analyze the best drivers in the world, which is on Formula One level, on rallies level, on drifting champions level. Like they're
Mhm,
allowed, by the way. We got a drift champion here, like many drift champions in Jordan and in the Middle East, and
mhm,
it's always there. There is a woman participants, by the way. Like they're
mhm,
allowed to be in these championships, but it is always the top 10 are all men, always.
mhm,
So that's so clear that in
mhm,
general, like they are a better drivers. And the
mhm,
statistics regarding the accidents does not prove anything because it's always the more risk takers,
mhm,
the more damage they do.
mhm.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree to that. But I also don't see a problem with women being driven by men. My grandmother never got a driver's license. I don't think she wants to. For me, I pretty much always have my husband drive, but he likes to do it and I think he's better at it and he takes less risk than I do. I learned how to drive in Florida. So, I just don't see what the problem is with that because in the Middle Eastern countries, it's the husband driving or the oldest son, I think. But I'm pretty sure women do have the right to drive in those countries, but it might not be a cultural preference. What country are you in?
I'm in Jordan. I heard that you've been in Jordan. You've been to Jordan. You love Jordanian food, huh?
Yeah, it's really good, and the people are nice. I went to Kasadic outside of Amman, and then I was
Okay.
at the Jordanian Training Center. So it's a this is weird.
Did
So
he did he eat mansaf?
no, no, let me think. You know that guy Al Zakarawi? He's not alive anymore. You know him?
No.
Do you no? Okay, okay. Well, he was a bad guy. But wherever the city that he's from was next to where I was. So I went to two places.
Hmm.
But I love Jordan. It's really awesome. I would go back. I want to go back. I
Hmm.
went to the Jordanian River, the Jordan River too. Mhm.
Yeah, for the baptism, for the rituals, or like you just visiting.
Well, we went on a trip and it people did get baptized, but I was already baptized, so I didn't want to get baptized. But if you look across the river, it was really funny. On one side is Jordan, and then on the other side is Israel. And so, like on one side, it's not as decorated, and then on the other side is just like full of marble. So I think it was just different
It is
tourist
a
spots.
it is a it is Israeli occupation. It's not Israel. It's Palestine. It's an Arabic land
Oh,
originally,
on the
but
Jordan River.
they took it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
The other side is Israeli occupation. It's originally Arabic land, like Muslim land, but they
Okay,
occupy
okay.
it.
See,
Okay,
they didn't tell us
we don't want to go to politics. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
I like
They are
politics.
occupying an Arabic
Mhm.
country.
Oh, okay.
But walaikum salam, brother Yusuf. Guys, it's only members
Mhm.
chat, and like
Mhm.
if you have a burning desire to ask questions, send it in super chat. That will
Mhm.
make it more easy.
Mhm.
Okay, so women's in the manosphere, and when I say women's in the manosphere, I mean you and Pearl. Like, how
Mhm.
did you come across the manosphere content? Is it started with Kevin Samuel, or like you used to follow someone else before?
No, it's a long story. So I always had a problem.
Give us the short version of it.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I always had a problem socializing with women, and I used to think that maybe I was the
Okay.
problem. So when I was engaged to my husband or when I was dating my husband, I would tell him some of the problems that I was having with women because there's things that I didn't want to do. You know, I don't want to get drunk, I don't want to party, but for women, women to women friendships, if you say, "Hey, I don't like what you did," they say, "Okay, we're not friends anymore." So I just always had these problems. I told him about it. He showed me this documentary called The Red Pill. It's not really a documentary, but at least I knew what to call what I was.
Cassie J, yeah.
Yes, yes. But I knew what to call what I was thinking. And it's basically that men and women are, we're different in many ways, but there's some things that women do that is bad that nobody likes to talk about. Like women can be very malicious and
Mm.
women can be violent. So I started looking at more content and I was an undergrad. And I was really concerned about, going to graduate school because I wanted to feel important. I felt like I was not being a good person or an important person if I didn't get a graduate degree. But then I started listening to Kevin Samuel's content. And then I understood that I don't have to
Mhm.
go to graduate school. And I saw that a lot of other women were having some struggles because I grew up in a single mother home in a lower socioeconomic status, and I didn't have any modeling on how to be a wife. So I thought that I could make a channel to help other women so that way they don't have to go through the same things that I did.
That makes sense. You're from Hispanic origins, right?
I'm Puerto Rican. Mhm.
Ah, Puerto Rican. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's how you came across Kevin Samuel content. And what about the rest of the gang?
Oh, I got nosy. I wanted to find out how the Manosphere started because I'm skeptical. Because I didn't want to listen to what these guys had to say. For me to listen to what you have to say, you have to prove who you are, that you're genuine, and you have to prove that what you're saying is at least accurate. Like it might not be scientifically proven, but if it's effective and helpful, I'll listen to it. So I started seeing like Kevin Samuels and Fresh and Fit, and everybody kept talking about the book The Rational Male, and then I started hearing about Rollo Tomasi, and so I started looking at his
Mhm.
content, and I love his content. I think his content is honestly the most bipartisan. I think a lot of women should listen to his content. So that's how I kind of figured out that there's the Manosphere has been around for a very long time. I know that Rollo
Mhm.
references a lot of people like Rushvi, or he references, I think, Tom Likas. So men have been giving each
Yeah,
other notes, or trying to, so that they can be more successful with women. And that's how I ended up finding out pretty much everyone. But it's been a good time. I like it. And they help me with my platform too.
yeah, yeah. Do you want to know how I discover you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Uh, First time I saw you commenting on John from Modern Life
Oh,
Dating.
yeah. I like
Yeah,
MLD. He's great. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. He's my friend, and I saw you like commenting a lot, and you write me one time like, "Can you check my content?" You was so small back in the days, like around 500 subscriber or 800 or 700,
Oh, okay.
like very small channel. Yeah, your channel was very small. Say like,
Mhm.
that's interesting. Who's this girl? I
Mhm.
opened your channel and checked your content, and whoa, I
Mhm.
was like shocked. She makes so sense. Like her
Mhm.
content is genuinely good, like
Thank you.
generally speaking. And I lost you for a few seconds. Yeah.
Oh, I said thank
So
you.
okay, you're most welcome. So, but didn't expect, to be honest, like to go viral for such things. Like, I got the ring. I just love my husband. I take care of him, and I'm happy. Said that was wild. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that was wild on Pearl channel. And more
Mhm.
power to you and Pearl, by the way. I'm totally impressed of what you and Pearl are doing in the last like few months. Like she's genuinely hardcore. Like I'm talking
Mhm.
about Pearl here.
Oh,
She's
yes.
she's she's really working very hard to
Mhm.
produce a good content and good conversations. And
Mhm.
I saw that you was doing some collaboration with other female content creator that I never knew before, like the
Mhm.
secretary boss or something,
Oh,
like
security
the
boss.
dark woman
Yes.
and other,
Mhm.
yeah, and other content creators, which is like they have a lot of good values.
Mhm.
I do not. It's very hard for me to accept everything that they say, because
Mhm.
I do not know them generally, but they have a great values. Like,
Mhm.
how do you estimate the females' effect on the manosphere? Because we on the manosphere, like me, Rollo, Richard Cooper, John, and Fresh and Fit, I do not think we thought before that a females will go viral in the manosphere in this part of the internet. What do you estimate the effect of female content creator in the manosphere?
Well, I think the world differs to women. So if we say the same things that you guys say, people will listen to us more. I don't think it's fair, but I think it's true. And I think it is
Hmm.
good for the manosphere to have female content creators, because the stereotypes surrounding the manosphere is that you guys are all misogynist. Well, who could really speculate that you guys are misogynist if women are willing to work with you? I would never work with a man that hated women. And I am also
Hmm.
very understanding of why men would be skeptical, because I think at the end of the day, most women are self serving. Like, I have a very traditional mindset, more so conventional. I wish I was a traditional conservative. That would have been great. My life would have been better. But I do think that in a perfect world, a man would protect and provide, and a woman would be worthy of that, and a woman would follow the man's lead, right? Just for a standard masculine and feminine dynamic within a household to help
Hmm.
raise two babies, and to have polarity. You love your husband because he does things that you can't do or won't do, and he loves you because you do things that he can't do or won't do. So I really like that yin and yang. And people would hear that, though, and they would think that I want men to be better because women want better partners. I want men to be better for themselves, because your average man is losing. He's a loser. I,
Yeah.
I, I don't I don't like to have that conversation, but it's true. But I think that women
Mhm.
should increase their value based off of ethics and dignity. Whereas like I think men should do it for themselves, but women need to do it for ethics and dignity, because how are you going to, be obese, be aggressive, have
Mm.
nothing to bring to the table, but you still want a man to protect and provide in a traditional way? I don't think that that's appropriate. But women have a lot more leverage than men when it comes to mate selection, so they can get away with a lot more. I don't think that they should pursue getting away with more. I think that they should learn how to control themselves, learn how to,
Mhm.
kind of shut up their hypergamy a little bit, just keep it locked up, and be patient, because a lot of us are going to live to our 90s. And your life now as a woman in your 20s, you think that you can, do whatever you want and you have a lot of options. And women leave sometimes for very stupid reasons. They leave marriages if they even get around to getting married. So you want to leave because you FOMO, you have a fear of missing out in your 30s or 40s. But then, so like what's going to happen, because the dating market just gets worse at that age. And so you have 50 more years that you're going to spend by yourself because you thought that there was somebody better out there for you. That doesn't make any sense to me. But I also think that women are very indoctrinated and lied to. If you're going to be born a woman in the
Mm.
West, you're going to be born a feminist. So like the very basic things we don't, we it's like propaganda. Like we think that there's
Mm.
something wrong with men when they're not emotionally responsive, when in reality men have a completely different response to emotions than we do because of biology. But nobody will say that. They won't tell
Yeah.
us that.
Yeah, I do totally agree. Most of women, generally speaking, in the West and in the East, some of them in the East, because we have like the wave reached us in the last 10 years, the wave of feminism agenda, it reached us. They assume that the man have to express his feeling, but because of the social engineering, that we are keeping that inside. Uh, we
Mhm.
we as a man, we do not have that necessity to express our feeling. When I
Mhm.
feel bad, I work on it on a mental level to fix it. But I do not go to tell people how I feel this day. And no, I do not have the desire inside. They
Mhm.
assume that we have the same desire, men and women, but because of the how society told us not to express our feeling. And
Mhm.
nobody gives a fuck anyway, like if a man expresses about his feelings. So
Yeah.
why should we do it? And
Mhm.
I do totally agree regarding the indoctrination and for the females raising up in the West. So
Mhm.
she born. I will not say she's born as a feminist. She's born with feminist values. Because where did you
Mhm.
get your values? It is from the surrounding, from the
Mhm.
environment, from the media, the movies, the songs,
Mhm.
the let's say everything is visually and sound feeding into your brain is promoting this agenda. So it is very hard for females in the West to not be feminist to some degree. She
Mhm.
might be not radical feminist, but she had some feminist value inside her, because
Mhm.
that's the main narrative since like 40, 50 years. So it's very hard. Don't you
Mhm.
think so?
I think so. I get accused of being a feminist all the time. I mean, there's just in general, there's a distrust of me. And I get it, but honestly, if I if I wanted to make more money, I wouldn't be in red pill content. Not that I make an attempt to be. I like to be red pill adjacent, but if I wanted to make more money, I would just lie to women, you know what I mean? But so I get called the
Yeah.
feminist because I think women should have the right to vote. But it's because if I was to say that I don't think women should have a right to vote, people would just call me alt-right. They would call me an extremist. I don't think that most women should vote. I really don't. We don't vote well. We vote for our feelings. We don't vote for logic. The entire Democrat Party is basically upheld by women. Also, the entire Democrat Party now is basically anti-Christian. So I don't know why women keep voting for these folks, but in any case, I think that it's unrealistic to say that the right to vote is going to be taken away from women. I don't see that happening. It's impractical. But what probably would make sense, because it's not an equal right to vote. Men have to register for the draft in order to vote. It would make sense to me to draft women for jobs in the military for maybe like a 2-year minimum, maybe more than that. I don't know what it would be equal, but not to put them in combat positions because we're not really that good at those positions. We're not as strong as men. And also, I just don't think we can handle the stress of combat as well. I mean, even if you were sitting in an office or like a war room and you were just doing things from your computer, I think that would still be very
Mhm.
stressful for women to experience. So that's the only equalizer that I could think of. But just because I think women should have the right to vote, well, just because I don't know how to think about it, I don't know what position to have, doesn't mean that I am a feminist. And honestly, I could do well without my right to vote. I would rely on my husband's vote. I don't even think women should be in politics because we're too emotionally led. Like you get an emotional leader with a feminine school of thought, and then you get people like Justin Trudeau where people are making policy that doesn't work in reality. So I'm all for taking one for the team. Like I would give it up tomorrow if it would make the world a better place. I just think it's really impractical to recommend it. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, that idiot who's ruling Canada.
I
Uh,
know.
Really, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. Like the females in by voting got 27% of his government, but he threw that in the garbage and he assigned 50% of the government as females. That contradict the will of people. Are you
Mm-hmm.
fucking idiot? People voted for 27% to be females in the government, and you threw the will of the people in the garbage and see, no, I know better. We need 50% representation of female. What the people want, that doesn't matter. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's an idiot or a tyrant. He doesn't give a fuck about what people want.
Mm-hmm.
So I rather consider him as an idiot than
Mm-hmm.
a tyrant, because he's a soft boy. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe this makes sense. Okay, uh, getting back to the female content creator, I believe you guys you do not agree with 100% of what we say, but you agree 90 plus percent,
Mm-hmm.
and that's generally speaking that's positive. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like your allies, an ally better than enemy, and allies never share 100% of your belief, but
Mm-hmm.
they share with the majority of it. I heard you once saying, "Men's in the manosphere pretend to have that men have no biological clock regarding fertility biological clock," and
Mm-hmm.
that's true. That's accurate from scientific point of view. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, I mean, I know people say that men don't hit the wall, but they do. It's just like at 60. If they take care of themselves, like at some point they're not as handsome. My husband's very physically fit at 50, but when my husband was 35, he was like way hotter. But men's sexual market value is different. They can change it based on their social status. Like I don't think Jeff Bezos has a problem getting women or Manny Pacquiao. I don't think they have problems getting women. But that's what I meant by a physical wall because people look at me marrying my husband and they think, oh, look, they did what the red pill says. It's like, no, I would not have married most 50-year-old men. My husband had a very unusual career. He accomplished a lot and I very much look up to him. So like this is the other thing is the whole if you out earn your husband then you're going to leave. I think that's true. Statistically that's true. But I think
Yeah,
that so I have a very successful YouTube channel and then my husband has a very successful military career. So he's a major and
yeah,
he has all these badges. So he's successful in something that I could never be. And then for myself, I'm successful over here on the internet, on social media, and that's not really his interest. So it's like I don't feel that need to look down on him, if that makes sense. I mean, for the time being, right now, he's still out
mhm,
earning me. But I think for women, it's if you work in a similar field or industry as your male partner and you start outperforming him, that you start to look down on him because you're like, if I can figure it out, why can't you? But still, the statistics are going to say that most women leave after once they start out earning a man. I'm not going to
yeah,
lie. I'm just talking about how people can navigate through seeing more of what a man has to offer outside of income and finance. There's lots of other masculine dynamics that my husband holds that, would keep me around because I think that's the ultimate game is how do you keep a woman for 20 to 30 years when she knows that she can take half of your stuff, right? Just by the laws. So I think that's really interesting. I think Rolo has a really good perspective on that. He's been married 27 years, and I love
Yeah,
my husband's frame, and I love that like my husband is the game. It's a good time. I'm just very much attracted to him. And the other thing I would say about a wall for men is I think there's a performance wall. If you're a man and you don't know what you want to do by age 30 and you don't have any receipts that are showing that you've been working on something by age 30, I can't trust you with my eggs. Like, why would I date you? Why would I marry you? Because you don't have like
but
a
that's can be fixed. It's not like a female wall. Like if
well,
you reach
it can be fixed,
35,
but most men are
you can
not.
do you can do anything to reverse it back. A
Mhm,
man after 30, he can fix it out, like, and in 5 years
mhm,
be a millionaire, or 10 years.
mhm.
So he can reverse it, this effect.
Well, he can climb over the wall. Women cannot climb over the wall, but most men are not going
Yes.
to. Most men, if they don't accomplish anything by 30, they're never going to. You can still change it. Women can't change becoming more physically attractive. I mean, they can like a little bit, but not really. Like age is age. But that's what I mean by a performance wall. So men can climb over it, but women can't. Mhm.
Yeah. What I said, it is accurate from scientific point of view, because literally there is two school of thoughts here on biological level. The
Mhm.
first one says men after 30 will start to lose 1% of his testosterone level every year,
Mhm.
and the other one says after 40 he will start to lose 1% of his testosterone level uh, every year, and
Mhm.
that's the general sense of it. That does not include who that's average.
Mhm.
Men's who exercise, who do a lot of things, what increase the testosterone level is not in this. It is the average. So by losing 1%, let's say at 30, at
Mhm.
40 you will lose 10%. That means you have 90%.
Mhm.
That's the average sense of it. At 50 you have 80%. At 60 you have 70%. At 70 you have 60%.
Mhm.
So it is not that huge different, but female after 30 to 35, they lose 90% of their sexual market value, and you can't reverse it back, because men who want to get married, usually they want to
Mhm.
have kids, and
Mhm.
you lost that ability and you can't do anything about it. That's
Mhm.
why we call it the wall, and nobody can skip it.
Mhm.
But I have, like, I know a lot of men, and that's not a personal observation,
Mhm.
that they got married at 50 or 60 or 70, and they have several kids after that.
Mhm.
So men's used to be fat at 50, and they practice, they work, they practice, they exercise and work hard, and they became fit. Men's who used to be from the middle socioeconomic status until 40, and then something clicked and he started to climb the social hierarchy, and getting more and more money and more women.
Mhm.
So is it a real wall if you can change it, if you can push it back or bring it in, or jump above it? It is not a real wall.
Mhm. Well, it's a mental wall. That's the problem with men who don't have an alpha male mentality. They just let life happen to
Yeah,
them. That's why I said for men, it's a wall that they can climb over. It's going to be hard work because if you're figuring out your life as a man at 30, I mean professionally, yeah, it's going to be hard work, but I'm just saying that most men are not going to do that. And most men are not going to hit the gym later on in life. They can. For women, it's not the same. Like you have to make decisions sooner. I see the women that contact me the most for dating, they're like 32 to 35. The ones that just want to be profiled, but they still say like they're willing to give a man children, but it's unlikely that they're going to even be that fertile, so they're just in
yeah.
denial. So I'm not going to say that men can't sire children later on in life. My husband is pretty fertile himself, and I'm not going to say that men cannot improve, right? But I'm just
Mm,
saying that most men are not going to. For the women side of things, you should still be physically attractive at 30. You're not going to be as hot as you were at 22, at 18. I think that's just never going to happen. But like you should still be attractive.
mhm,
And but some women, like they're not hitting the wall at like if you take care of yourself, like maybe 35, but usually 30. But there's some women that they don't
mm,
take care of themselves. They're hitting the wall at like 26. Like they just look disgusting. They
mm.
have bad habits. They're unhealthy.
Especially obese women. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, those are my sentiments. So I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just saying like balance of probabilities. Like if you're a man who gets obese in the first place, the likelihood of you coming out of that is slim to none.
Yeah, but my main point, it is
Mhm.
from something that he can change, but
Yes.
he's not willing to change.
Yes.
For females, it's from something you can't change. You can't reverse
Mhm.
back the ovulation cycle for the last 15 years. You can't.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
so men who doesn't change, they are lazy as fuck. They don't want to work hard. That's that's the point. That's the main point of it.
Mhm.
You like you're not changing because you're not willing to change, not
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the main point.
Correct.
What other things that you disagree with the Red Pillars content creator on?
Well, I didn't disagree with you. I said you're right, and you are right. It's true. But other things that I disagree
Okay.
with, um, well,
Or you
I
feel
don't.
it's misrepresented?
No, I don't. With the content creators, I don't really disagree with. It's the comments section that I disagree with the most. So from like I listen to Rolo, Donovan, MLD. There's like little things here and there that I disagree with, but if you are very specific about the male content creators that you watch in the manosphere, like I vet them. If I feel like they're lying, then I don't watch them. But I don't feel that way about those men. Well,
Okay.
I don't think that way about them. But things I
Mhm.
disagree with is a lot of guys they think that if they're not born handsome, that they're not going to do well in the dating market. I guess like handsome in the face, but you can still get a six
Black
pack.
pillars,
Yeah, if you're
black
short, you
pillars
can't get a
doomers. Yeah.
woman. Yeah. Or like men want traditionally conservative women, which I am not one. I would like to be, but too late. So they want traditionally
Let me
conservative.
shock you.
Okay.
Let me shock you by historical by historical fact.
Okay.
The most two men in the history of a human being that reproduced with a great amount of women, which is
Mm-hmm.
Genghis Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Genghis Khan is the first one. He got uh, 1 in 200 people in all of Asia is from his descent, like from directly descent of him. So he got a lot of women, I believe, like regarding around 1,000 women in his life he
Mm-hmm.
reproduced with. And the second one, and he passed Genghis Khan, by the way, but people do not know about him. You can search him. His name is Sultan Ismail. You will find him on Wikipedia under the name of Ismail the Bloodthirst. Ishmael the Bloodthirst. He used to be an Islamic ruler in the area of Morocco in
Mm-hmm.
South Africa. In South Africa, he they count 1,050 child directly belong to him, directly from him. 1,050 child. So he
Mm-hmm.
reproduced with over than maybe 800, 900 women,
Mm-hmm.
and both of them was like medium to short, like they are below 5'7".
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, they were conquerors of the world. Like that's the highest social status that you can possibly have. Of course, I don't think they had a problem with women. And I think that's fair. I mean, I feel like half the time a man even tries to conquer the world, it's for women, to get access to them, to get access to the highest quality
For
women.
land, in the first place, for lands and power, and then women will come with the package.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's women first, but that's just my opinion. I just think it's always about like, hey, how can I get the chicks? Not in a bad way because those guys have more leverage than those women, but yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. I'm pretty familiar with Genghis Khan. I didn't know about Ismail, but I can just look him up next. That'd be a good little fun factoid. But I mean, there's
Yeah,
just
and
mhm.
go ahead, go ahead.
There's just small things that I disagree with, like, but
But
it's
that's black
literally,
pillars. That's not really red pillars. That's a
I know.
black pill doomers. Like we
Yeah,
laugh at this guys.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. It is just the black pillars because none of the content creators say anything that I wouldn't push back on. I'll say this: I don't think your average guy cares as much about
The
virginity.
multisexual partner, the
Oh,
multisexual partner thing.
no, no. I mean, if the only as much as I don't want to share my husband, and I don't think that that's something that I would like
That
for
makes
other
sense.
couples
Yeah,
out there. Yeah, but other people, they can and they will do it. Like polyamory exists. Well, it's mostly polygyny, but people think that it's not
polygyny. Yeah.
polygyny if there's no marriage involved. But polygyny is you sharing your baby daddy having multiple different baby mamas. Like that's still polygyny. So in America, we just have this misconception that, in order for it to be proper polygamy, there has to be marriage. I don't think that's true. So I think the multiple partners thing, yeah, but I also think that there's an assumption that if you're a high value man that you want multiple partners and women is multiple headaches. So I don't think every guy that's high value wants to do that. I think that they can, but to say that they all want to, I'm not sure about that. And I guess the other thing that I would say is I don't think your average guy cares as much about virginity as the manosphere promotes. I think they care about promiscuity. I think they care about a low body count, but I don't think they care about virginity because like these are secular men. So you're trying to tell me you're a secular man, you don't believe in marriage, you want to have a rotation or like an LTR. We'll just go like full extreme with it. You want all of that. So why do you care if your girl is a virgin or not so that you can have her around and then not commit to her? And then if she gets too aggressive, then you just like, you don't want her in your life anymore. Like that part, I think is just like a little bit too far. And I don't think that, like, I'm not saying it's not a plus. I do think that the best thing you can do for yourself as a woman who wants to have a happy marriage is to save yourself for marriage. I 100% believe that. But your average guy isn't even having sex. So to say that it's like this big thing, I don't agree with that, especially when we have hormonal birth control.
Well, to be honest, I do not see a lot of red pill content creator advocating looking for a virgin when he want to spin plates. Like if you're spinning plates, you do not really care about
Mm-hmm.
woman past because you're spinning plates. It's one
Mm-hmm.
night or 1 week, so like let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But when they speak about the mother of your children, like the long life, the long term partner as a wife,
Mm-hmm.
either it's recorded in the government or not,
Mm-hmm.
because we Muslims we do it by Sharia way. We
Mm-hmm.
do not need record in the family court to be considered marriage. We do our marriage, and like if the laws are good, we can do the record, we can do the registration in the family court. If it's not, it's still an Islamic marriage. So
Mm-hmm.
by this point, when you look for a long-term partner, and most of them, to be honest, they do not advocate because they're realistic. Like less
Mm-hmm.
than 5% of the females in the like after 20 or 25, less than 5% of the females in the United States are virgins, less than 5%. And I believe you can find some of them in the Midwest and some of them like with the Mormons in Utah. So you can't find them everywhere. Like they are very rare commodity.
Mm-hmm.
So to advocate, you will never be a realist to say I just to marry the virgin, especially for from non-religious. For us in the
Yes, that's my
in the Middle
problem is
East,
that like
it's
they're not religious. Mm-hmm. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
they're not religious and they're not a realist.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say, for example, do not marry except virgin, okay, you will have to go to the Mormons, and Mormons do not give their daughter for non-religious man. They need
Mm-hmm.
you to be Mormon to be a good man. So they are
Mm-hmm.
not giving their daughters away to anyone who want virgin. It is
Mm-hmm.
not. It's not type of good that you can pick off the shelf and take it home.
Mhm.
So they have their standards also to the men that they will let their daughter to give. It is more like the Arabic world. You have to get the consent from the family. You can't marry any woman in the Arabic world without the consent of the family, especially the father, the big brothers. They have to vet you as a man. And I believe that's a great defense line protecting women in the Middle East, in the Islamic world. Like you have to go through me to marry my sister. You
Mhm.
have to go through me. You can't do it. Like uh, that can generate conflict and can get you killed. You
Mhm.
can't do it by your way, just to come and take take a girl and she had consent. No, it's irrelevant. You have to get my consent first and then her consent. And
Mhm.
that's that I believe that's one of the main reasons that the marriage institution is still holding herself,
Mhm.
still holding itself in the Middle East and in the conservative part of the world. Don't you
Mhm.
think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I think Muslims are projected to reproduce the most right now out of other religious
Yeah,
faiths.
highest fertility rate in the world. Yes.
And you know, I think it's better than secular people. I mean, in my opinion, because I don't think most people can be secular, but it makes me angry at Christians for letting go of everything to have an
Yeah.
inclusive church, to have feminine men in the church, to have, women can come in and they can be forgiven of all their past behaviors. And like the men are supposed to still marry them. I think that's impractical. Women in the church do not receive mentorship from older women. That's also a
Hmm.
problem. I just
Yeah.
don't like how watered down it's become. And I wish that there was a way to bring it back. But if the world changed tomorrow and all of a sudden there was masculine Christian men, I don't even know if the women would take it. I think they would still try to fight because like now the church is pretty feminist, to be honest. Like I had
Mhm.
a Roe v. Wade got overturned and I had a pastor who said, I hope you're not looking to me in these hot topic times. And I'm sitting here like, you're the pastor. You're supposed to be the leader of the church. Of course,
Yeah.
I want to hear from you what you, so anyway, the church is broken and I don't know how to fix it, but I'm just going to do my own thing.
Yeah, getting back to the text, that's how
Yeah.
you fix it, because
Yeah.
everything is in the text are clear. That's the main source of power of Islam, because we
Mhm.
have we have like the book, which is Quran, and the chain of narratives, which is the quotes of Prophet Muhammad explaining things from the Quran and by the Islamic regulation. And
Mhm.
those are well documented by the most accurate documentation system that
Mhm.
ever known in the history.
Mhm.
So nobody can change anything, even one letter, you can't change it.
Mhm.
The Arabic Quran all over the world have zero differences, and literally zero, not even a vowel. So you
Mhm.
can't change the text. And if you
Mhm.
got any conflict, you will get back to the text and you will see the accurate description for your problem. So
Mhm.
if you stick by the text, you will find solutions. And but like the major problem with that Christians facing right now, and I believe, can correct me if I'm wrong, that they do not stick to it and they are afraid of political correctness. So they are afraid to say like the rainbow people is a sin, like what they are doing is a
Yeah.
sin, while it is a sin in the book. I read the Bible, by the way. It is
Good.
a sin. It's very clear. Like, why are you afraid of saying it? We do
Because they don't
not,
want
like,
to
as
offend
a Muslim,
people.
it is a sin.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
Dr. Jordan Peterson got banned because he says, remember when it was a sin? He got banned
mhm.
on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I know. I like him. I like what he has to say. But I don't know what they're so afraid of because I think if they wanted to do that, the truth is, myself, married or not married, as a young, fertile woman, if I was to sexualize another man that I'm not married to, that is still a sin. And it's the same as a man sexualizing another man or a woman sexualizing another woman. So like it's the same sin. Nothing is like worse than the other. But the reason why people don't like homosexuality the most, believe, as a sin is because you can see it. You can see who somebody is dating, right? But the
Mhm.
church won't even have that conversation. They don't want to say that anything is wrong anymore. And it's
Yeah.
hard for me. I'm trying to find a new church. I just got a new recommendation because I thought I had a good church, but it wasn't working out. And all I want is something to believe in. I just want some solid scripture. But it's a challenge these days. And
Have
they
you
have
ever
nobody
read
to blame but
Quran before?
themselves. No,
Have
no,
you ever read Quran before? You
no.
can find an English translation for Quran. Like just
Mhm.
read it for like general knowledge. You might
Okay.
like it.
I know a woman who she was Latina and she became a Muslim and she lives in the Middle East right now and she has a Muslim husband. So yeah, I see women do it all the time.
Hmm.
I don't think I think I love well, I know that I love the teachings of Jesus too much to leave Christianity. And I love his teachings the most. I'm not very good about the God part. I'm still learning, but I'm very good at,
Hmm.
what Jesus had to say and just listening to the words that he gave us to guide us through this walk in life. And I think it's a good thing
Did
to do. The happiest wives that I know are the
Mhm.
Christian conservative wives and whose husbands lead. And like these guys are not like, complete alpha males, I mean, most men are not complete alpha males, but they do have that hierarchy in the household and they're,
Mhm.
whatever they say goes. And the wives are okay with it and the
Yeah,
wives care about how they look for their husbands. That's what I've seen. I don't know about anybody else, but the secular side of things, I don't know what's their plan. Like baby mamas, baby daddies, like okay.
that's good. That's good. I believe you heard of that. Like, no Muslim is a Muslim without believing in Jesus. Like I
Oh, that's
believe in Jesus also as a
well,
prophet,
he's in there.
not
He's
as
in
a
there.
God, as a prophet, as a prophet, as a great man, as a brother of Prophet Muhammad. Like
Mhm.
they're sharing the same message. So we
Mhm.
believe in Jesus also, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
That's cool.
You,
Mhm.
Yusuf here saying we Muslims do not agree with everything within red pill ideas. Do you mean by red pillar's contribution, like recommendation or prescription? Yeah, totally agree, especially if they contradict with Islamic value, such as like spinning plates. We don't do that as a Muslim. You can spin plates by halal way, by marrying them. You can't spin plates by like one night stand and then go and
Mhm.
next day. Yeah, we do not agree with that. Like even
Mhm.
a red pill Muslim content creator, I do not agree with that. I never advocated for that, to
Mhm.
spin plates like 3 4 women every week and keep changing. No, no, you have to show some commitment first.
Mhm.
Don't you think that that's a better, to show some
Yes.
commitment before
Yes, and my
getting with
Christian
a
friends
woman?
don't like it. My Christian friends, they really don't like that I support Islam. And I understand that it's controversial and it's not perfect, but okay. So, like, the Western and Christian critique about the Quran is that Prophet
Mhm.
Muhammad, his wife Aisha, was really young. Okay, now pause. If you go to the Bible,
I can
if you
tell you. I can tell
oh,
you about that. And I,
Naima.
I and I saw your episode with Naima. No, I have a different answer that Naima
Okay. Give me the
didn't give
answer.
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, because Naima give you like a general answer. I have a specific strong answer for that. Do
Okay.
you know that marrying a girls under 10 years old was common until the 18th century in the West?
That's what I suspected. That's what I thought. That's probably
You
why.
you you can look for the princesses and the queens of England, France, and Germany, and you will find after Prophet Muhammad with 500 years, they
Mhm.
used to get married at 9, 6, 7. Some of them used to have 2 children at 11 years old.
Mhm.
So the main point here, because they think they are self, like they think of themselves that they are so smart to criticize Prophet Muhammad. His enemies in the same time never have that critique of him,
Agree.
never have that point, never mentioned her, never mentioned it. Like he have like a real enemies was trying to kill him and was criticizing him in every single matter. They never have that point. Why? And by the way, have you know that his Aisha, his wife, used to be engaged before him? So that
Oh,
was regular for another man. Yeah, she used to be
that's what
engaged
I
before
thought.
that. So
Hmm.
that was that generally accepted practice in that era. You can't put your standard from 2022
Hmm.
on 1500 years ago people and tell them no, you are wrong. If you was a part of that society, it will be right for you also. So
Oh.
different ages, different standards, and it used to be practiced like around 800 years or 700 years after Prophet Muhammad died, like in Europe. Two or three of the United Kingdom queens, Great Britain queens, they got married at 9, 8, and 7.
Mhm.
That's hundreds of years after that. Did anybody mention them? No,
Nope.
because that
Nope.
was very irregular.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. But if you look in the Bible under the book of Numbers, there's a battle,
yeah,
right? And then it's like battle with the pagans. But what happens in the book of Numbers? And like nobody brings this up. They kill all the whores. They kill all of them. All of them. If it's a woman that wasn't a virgin or a woman that wasn't Christian, they got rid of her. They kept the virgins
yeah.
though so that they could marry Christian men. But so like they'll say like, "Oh, look at Aisha," but they don't want to like,
They
"Oh, look
mentioned
at the book
keep.
of
They
Numbers."
mentioned they mentioned keep the woman in the Bible, keep the all the women that never been touched by a man, and kill the
Mhm.
rest of them.
Exactly, but nobody says
Nobody
that.
did that.
Mhm.
And when I read this script, I said, look, that totally makes sense because in that era, that what used to do, like that all people what used to do. It will never been wrong. So
Mhm.
like the wrong and right concept can shiftily changed from an
Mhm.
era to another era. So you can't just put your standard on like thousands of years ago society, tell them no, you are doing wrong. If you was born in that society, you will be going with the social norm that known that like in that era. That's my
Mhm.
point.
Yeah, I agree. So I just think people are full of it. But that's academia right now because I was an anthropology major and they have queer theory. So what they're trying to do is go and look at artifacts. So in archaeology, you go through people's trash that they left behind. It could be like hundreds of years old, thousands of years old, whatever. And they go and they try to look. And now when they go look, they're like, like, well, was this person gay? I'm like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how? Like, they're just making stuff up right now. So I think that's part of it is just academia is like unwilling to understand that we have ideas about things now and we know what to call everything. But back then, some people probably never even had that idea or had words for it. I know like the Greeks did, but to say that like people were thinking about their gender or their sexuality every second of every day, no, nobody was doing that. But that's
Yeah.
America for you. That's why America's slipping. So we're in the decline of the West. That's why we're slipping. Hmm.
Yeah, from demographical point of view, yes, you are falling in the like United States is falling in the last 50 year, like
Hmm.
the fertility rate is dropping, like
Hmm.
that indicate a demographical catastrophe in the next 50 year. That's what Elon Musk is shouting about in the last 1 year. Like he's
I
doing
know.
his part. He had 9 kids, and
Yeah.
as Abu American, he had 9 kids. By the way,
Yeah.
they are calling Abu American is misogynist. Like how he can hate women while he have four? Do he hate
Ew.
him to the degree that they have for Abu American?
Oh, I know him. Yeah. I don't, those people are stupid. They think that I hate myself. They think that I have internalized misogyny. The feminists, they just don't know what they're doing. So they're going to ruin their own lives. I ignore them. Right. But that's the same thing like with the manosphere. They say that you guys are all misogynists, but you guys all help me. So I don't understand.
Yeah, like most of them or all of them have women in their lives, and like you hate women. I hate women. I hate women to the degree that I married four. Do I hate them to that much? If I hate someone, I will never let him get into my life. Like that's
Yes.
the logical like presumption. Like
Mhm.
I hate them and I married four of them. Really,
I
that
know.
doesn't make sense.
They don't make sense. So
Yeah, Yusuf here saying most states have a minimum marriage age of minors with parental consent ranging from 12 to 17 years old. Yes, Texas one of them. Utah
mhm.
is one of them.
Yes.
You can get married under 18, by the way, in the United States, as
Mhm.
much as like in the rest of the world. Like
Mhm.
18 years old is not an international number that everybody agrees on. No, there's a
Mhm.
lot of differences in the minimum age for marriage.
Mhm.
But like what make me laugh actually, countries like France.
Mhm.
France is so secular, so anti-religion, and they have that like you can't get married as a female unless you're 18, but you can have sex and get pregnant at 13, and that's okay.
I know. I know. I hate it. I
Like,
don't like it
does
at
that
all.
irritate you like me?
Yeah, it irritates me. I mean, because they're lying to women. Like I'm so tired. Like, okay, I get a lot of people don't like what I have to say, or they're more skeptical because I have a past. But I grew up in a single mother home, was physically assaulted for a decade. I don't know what my mom was doing, but she was like on her own thing. I raised myself, and so like I didn't have any guidance about sexuality. So I would just, kind of, it took me a while to understand, like, oh, you can say no, just because I was used to not having control of my body because you're being physically assaulted. So it's like, you're like, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, like, fine. But then I realized at a certain age, I was like, wait a minute, like, I can say no. And all anybody had to tell me was like, if I was 15, they could have looked at me, they could have been like, hey, you should save yourself for marriage, and you can say no if you don't want to sleep with them. That's all they had to say. But did anybody do that?
Yeah,
No. No. And like these young girls, they're getting traumatized. Nobody wants to tell them what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And I think we should. I think we should tell them not to do these things, because being promiscuous, it doesn't feel good. I mean, for like your average American man, no. And I don't, it hurts women's feelings and they get depressed. They pretend like they don't. And some the sciences, academia, they say that women feel bad about being promiscuous because we tell them they should feel bad for being promiscuous. I don't agree with that at all, because I've talked to women and they keep doing,
yeah,
it's like you keep walking into the same wall doing the same thing. They're like, oh
yeah,
well, let me just do what I did with the last guy, maybe it'll be different. It's never different. Mhm.
yeah. And what is the point? Like you're telling a young girl like at 14, you can
Mhm.
have sex, you can get pregnant, and you can do abortion. But if you want to do the same thing, having sex and getting pregnant
Mhm.
in like in legal way or
Mhm.
in another frame, which is marriage, yeah, you
Mhm.
can do it out of marriage. Like why you can do it inside the marriage with the same person, by the way, with the
I
same
know.
person, with the
Mhm.
total consent. Like why
Mhm.
you can have sex and getting pregnant, but you
Mhm.
can't get married? Like what is the point?
I don't know. The feminists don't make sense, because when I went viral, I talked about having a healthy sex life with my husband, and one of the feminists reacted and she was like, but if I had an OnlyFans, then it would be fine. If I have an OnlyFans, it's
Yeah.
okay. If I have marital sex with my husband, it's not okay. I don't, their logic is not sound. So anyway, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, it is not the magic number, which is 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are getting married all over the world, like especially in India. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Indian Prime Minister Pig was talking about the Prophet Muhammad that makes the Muslim rages all over the world, while in his country in last few years they have over than 100,000 married for under 10 years old girls in
Mm-hmm.
India. So it
Oh
is
wow.
a criticism based on hate. It is not
Oh
a
my.
genuine criticism. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm telling you, like, do not break people cars windows or glasses, and
Mhm.
I'm doing it every single day by myself, like, I'm a hypocrite? Do I sound like hypocrite?
No.
Okay, where do you see, last question or last subject, where
Mhm.
do you see the future of the female content creator and the manosphere for you and Pearl? By the way, I'll try to have Pearl on my channel as a guest also.
Okay.
So where do you see the future of the
Mhm.
female content creator? I know you're not trying to go anyway near soon. So what
Oh.
is your plan?
I mean, at some point I would like to leave the manosphere, but only because I don't know, it's not for me, or it's just stressful, the way a lot of people are about it. It's not a fun place to be. But I would never say that, I didn't agree with a lot of the proven talking points. I would never say that I never learned anything. I learned a lot. So, but hopefully, and that'll be a long time before I do that. But I think I would still talk to the men in the manosphere and have them on the channel so they could still talk to us about men and women, because it's good information. But I would like to,
Mm,
in the future, I want to start interviewing wives in real life, because I live in
mhm,
Kansas and there's a lot of wives, and then just asking them, what they have done to make their marriage functional and to make it work, and how their husbands are appreciated. I'm really picky about the women that I interview, because I don't want to talk to
mm,
someone who's like engaged, or has a baby mama. Although I'm going to talk to one secular couple, because like people keep saying, oh, you don't think you're biased? Like, okay, we'll talk to a regular couple, you guys come to your own conclusions on that. So I want to interview wives, and then I live by a college, so I want to interview young women and men as well, especially men in the fraternity. They're usually, for the most part, they're pretty good guys, so I'd like to talk to them. So that's what's going to happen with my content. And I'm launching a wives panel, but I can't say too much about it. But it's
mm.
going to be like Rule Zero, but for wives who love their husbands. And yeah,
Oh,
mhm.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it'll be really good. And so women, I think whenever a woman is in the manosphere, I think we just want to help other women. And that's what I see what Pearl does. She just wants to help other women, because
Mm,
feminism lies to us. And a lot of us do want to
mm,
be married to masculine men, but we just can't get the guy. But it's because older women are
mm,
not coming forward and saying like, "Hey, I made these mistakes. Don't do what I did. Try something different." Or, "Hey, I did this and it worked." So that's what I think is going to happen moving forward.
mm, mm. So you don't have in the US, generally speaking, the concept of the wise grandmother.
No. No.
Why?
I
You
don't
all
know.
have grandmothers.
Well, for white Americans, their families are not that tight knit in general. It's a very individualistic society. But for Latin families, like your grandmother is a matriarch. I have conversations with my grandmother, but mostly I watch what my grandma does. And my grandma cooks and cleans every day, and she really loves my grandpa, right? But like it's the Gen X mothers that are a problem, I think, these days, because I think they're just
Yeah.
narcissistic. In my family, you have the women in my family like, oh, why does she cook for him? Why does she clean? How come he doesn't do it? One, because he's making money. Two, because she likes doing it. And then three, because he doesn't have to, you know? So I think, yeah, we don't have wise grandmothers. In America, if you get old, nobody cares about you, which I think is wrong,
Yeah.
but it's true.
Yeah, the family connection is not that strong as
Mhm.
the East.
Mhm. I agree.
That's the main issue. But
Mhm.
we still have that concept that grandmother and old mothers,
Mhm.
grandmothers, like they kick the shit out of young girls for doing stupid shit. They still have that power.
Mhm.
And I remember, like, my grandmother, rahimahullah, rest in peace. She died a few years ago. She
Mhm.
was around 81 years old, and she gave me that advice as a man.
Mhm.
I will never like I will never forget this advice in my life. She said to me, other women keep your women in line. And
Agree.
do you know, like she's illiterate, like she do not read and write, but
Hmm.
she have that wisdom of what we call today the competition and anxiety. She
Hmm.
said, like, if you have a woman and she's not getting in line, you can get another woman and she will get in line in the same second
Hmm.
of the competition and anxiety. So do you realize how powerful like their wisdom can be in the future?
Oh yeah. I mean, one of my biggest regrets is that I don't speak the same language as my grandmother. I used to, but if I spoke Spanish, I would be able to learn a lot more from her. But I would like to bring something like that back. But you can't have a grandma if you spend like your 20s all the way to your 40s partying and getting drunk and having sex. Like you're never going to be a grandma or like not a good one.
That's a
I know
great
some.
point.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to help women get in line. I'm trying to help women to get what they want. But also I want to help men get what they want. I think a traditional marriage with conventional gender roles where a man has his place in the home, the woman has her place in the home. I think that is the best ROI for two people. But people don't want to, I guess, put in the work to make something like that happen. Men are happier when they have purpose and authority, they're happier. And then women are happier
Mm.
too when like the family is happy, you know? But I mean, people just think I'm crazy. So,
Yeah, unless they give men's back the authority by legal way, from
mhm,
legal point of view, I think nothing gonna change,
mhm,
because like the trad cons in the West, as Rollo Tomassi used to say,
right.
they're advocating like for the men to be responsible, responsibility, and
Mhm,
nobody nobody ever mentioned uh, like the authority, and the
mhm,
responsibility without authority is slavery. Like you can't
mhm,
give the man all of the responsibility
mhm.
and give them zero authority. You can't tell your wife anything. No, no.
Yeah, I agree. Mhm,
Yeah, that was the last point. I know you have to go soon.
mhm. Yes, I have an
Yeah,
appointment. Mhm,
thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Ali. Like it was
mhm,
a very interesting conversation, and
mhm.
thank you guys for watching. Like any last points, last thoughts about the podcast? Tell people where they can find you. Her link, her channel link, guys, it's is in the description. Go and
Mhm,
follow the Real Femme Sapien channel. Like any last
mhm.
thoughts, last points, Ali?
No, I had a really good time, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to have you on my platform. I think I want to put you with a couple of other Muslim men, and I think I want to ask you guys a bunch of questions. So I have to go and hunt them down. I think I know Abu American, and I know Nasir Al Amin, and then I have you. So that might be really fun. That'd be good. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
they're
have.
both my friend.
Oh, okay, okay. So it will be fun. Okay, good, 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 good. I'm gonna try. And yeah, if you guys want to follow me, I am over at Real Femme Sapien on YouTube, at Real Femme Sapien on Instagram. If you want to book a one-on-one session for a loved one who is a woman, you can go to realfemsapien.com. I do not like coaching men, so please do not accidentally book a session. Please don't do that.
I do coach man, guys. Just hit me up at
Other
simplearabic.com,
than-
or like around 95% of my client are men. There is some women, but
Right.
me personally, I'm a little bit harsh, even on men. So most
Mhm,
of women try to avoid me for coaching.
mhm,
I made some of them cries like a few years ago, but they're now married with kids, so they
yeah.
still thank me because I make them cry like a few years ago.
Yeah, I've made women
Thank
cry too. It's okay. Mhm,
because somebody have to wake them up. Like some
mhm,
of them was over 30, like in the mid of 30s, and she's still, I have time, I want to live my life. I said, no, you're idiot. You don't have time. You do not live your life. No,
mhm,
you're running out of time actually.
mhm.
So you have to figure it out. Thank you, Maras, for the $5 super chat. It's very true. I've seen a lot of elderly women have no one. No woman said to me she can barely speak to her.
Mhm.
Only daughters living in another states. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do totally
Sad.
agree. I don't know where do you live, Mar S, but I believe it is true. You have anything to say regarding that?
Oh, no, it's very common, but some of these mothers are not worth taking care of. But they made that decision when they were raising their kids to be bad moms. So if you end up in the nursing home, it's certainly not because somebody loves you.
Yeah, yeah, we totally agree. Thank you, Ali, again. Thank you guys for keep watching, and see you on the next podcast. Thank you.
Mhm.
Goodbye.
Bye.